things to do is maintain those maps. The first 80% of making the maps is fairly straightforward, but it's when you have to change things or update things that it gets a little tricky and can consume a lot of time. So we're very pleased to be able to offer what we believe is a great tool for doing this. So let me get into the topics today. We're going to talk about who should take this workshop and when, so who is it for, and also the skills that you can expect to learn in this workshop. And then I'm going to give you a few highlights from the workshop and really just show you some of the capabilities iGraphics has in supporting you in mapping process and completing process improvement projects, hopefully spark your interest. And then we'll have a workshop schedule at the end. Who should attend this workshop? If you're like me and you have the role of process improvement analyst or process facilitator, you wear many hats, and although it would be nice to have someone to do your documentation with you or for you, you're often doing it yourself. So definitely process improvement facilitators are a key audience for this workshop. Business analysts working with technologies and tools to help understand the business workflow and then match that to the capabilities of software will also find this useful. So process analyst, business analyst, a key audience. Process modelers. There is some basic modeling capability within iGraphics. The package we offer with the class that comes bundled with the class has some very bare bones basics, but you can always extend that capability with various versions of the software. When should you take the class? Ideally, anytime. If you're someone who has been frustrated using either Visio or maybe you've had to cobble together process maps in Excel and Word and kind of make do, I think you'll find this a very useful application, and you're also going to get tips on various mapping conventions and notations for doing Rummler-Brache style maps. If you're getting ready to do a project or a large mapping initiative where you're expected to get some maps completed, it's an ideal time to take this because it's going to reduce your learning curve. You'll get in there with a tool and you'll be able to make good maps fast. That's really our goal with this class, is to help people create good process maps as quickly as possible. The things you'll learn in this workshop: create maps quickly and easily. So we want to get you some practice right away in the simplest practices and tips for getting your process maps constructed quickly. We're going to give you some templates that match the key Rummler-Brache process maps, certainly the process relationship map, which is a way of modeling the entire inventory of processes at the enterprise level. We're going to have process profiles, which is a simple process map that's used for project definition, process scoping, the development of metrics, and also for educating others about process at a high level. And then, of course, the cross-functional maps and linear maps that we use for analysis and design. So those detailed maps that end up taking up a lot of wall space in your team sessions. We're going to learn some shortcuts and tips, and I've done a lot of work myself and a couple of other Rummler-Brache instructors, and really using this software to its fullest extent, learning what all the shortcuts are, the keystrokes that can help save you time. And so in addition to showing you that in the class, we'll give you a take-home manual that kind of summarizes all the shortcuts that will be useful to a process analyst. Now, the software does a lot more than just process diagramming, but the main focus of iGraphics is process mapping, and it's really designed with the process mapper in mind. We'll talk a bit about spatial notation and linking features. There's a easy capability for adding other documents and other types, linking them to your maps, creating an entire project within a single iGraphics file. We'll talk a bit about that. And then finally, how do you get these things printed? Give you some guidance on printing to PDF format, printing on large format printers, sharing the documents, and even publishing to PowerPoint or web sites. So let's give you some highlights. I want to actually show you iGraphics here, so if you'll bear with me, I'm going to switch applications. Hopefully you're seeing the iGraphics workspace. It works just like any other program you've been familiar with, the same sort of menu choices and items, but it has a high degree of customizability. And so you can create your own sort of user interface for dealing with these maps. But just to give you an idea about some of the things that iGraphics makes it very easy to do, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration. This is the basic template for doing a cross-functional map. You see I've already had a customer band added at the top, and I've got my trigger here at the beginning of the process. I'm going to add a few more departments here. And what you'll notice immediately is that there's a lot of visual cues in iGraphics to help you create your maps as you go very neatly, so you don't spend as much time at the end making them pretty or lining them up. And one of the features that you're going to learn is how to create a map on the fly where everything is connected as you want it to be connected. And in this example, I'm just going to pull this down to this swim lane. Now, the great thing about iGraphics also is that it's object-oriented, that each of these swim lanes understands, based on how you're moving your cursor, what you want to do with your map. So there's never a case where you spend a lot of time stretching these swim lanes and changing these swim lanes to accommodate extra steps. If for instance, I was going to show some parallel steps here, the swim lane is going to move automatically. If I pull it across the swim lane, it knows that I want to go on the other swim lane, and it resizes. It's just a really great tool for keeping the layout nice and neat while you're creating the map, so you don't spend a lot of time changing things in the end. There are some other features that I find particularly useful. For example, numbering steps can always be an issue. Usually we wait till the end because we end up renumbering as we modify the map. But with iGraphics, there's a capability very simply at any time you want to number or renumber the steps. And there's a number of methods to do it. You can have the numbers automatically created as you create the map. You can have an automatic renumber starting at any number you wish, and it's going to go in the sequence that the shapes are placed on the map, or you can manually renumber as I just did. Again, what I find to be the key feature of iGraphics is the ease with which you can do these things once you learn the tips and tricks. Another thing that we find very useful in Rumbler Brace is to divide our process into sub-processes or phases. And iGraphics makes this very easy to do. It also makes it easy to manipulate the map. Again, you can see I can resize using this phase tool, and allows me to insert things. There's a lot of control if you have to modify the map after the fact. It makes it quite easy. Let's say I think I need to put a decision in here. I can move that right over that line and just drop it in. And the other great thing is, as you're making your map, yes?
I'm sorry. For some reason, we're having a little bit of a satellite delay. And what I'd like all the participants to do at this particular point in time is down in the lower right-hand corner, they'll see the WebEx toolbar. And there's kind of a backwards arrow that if you highlight that, it says return to the main window. And if you will click that, return to the main window, you'll see down on the bottom toolbar over on the left-hand side, you'll see that there's a kind of a percentage sign, a magnifying sign, and then the last button on the left says Sync Displays with Presenter. And if everyone would click that particular Sync Display button, and then on the application Share, just press Return, you'll go back to Dave's presentation, and you'll see the decision that he just inserted. So sorry about that. For some reason, there's just a small technical delay. What we'll end up doing is record this particular session to make sure that it keeps up with the synchronization and post it out on our website. So sorry for the technical difficulties this morning. And Dave, go ahead and continue.
Okay. John, you can hear me okay? There's no satellite delay with the...
No, your voice is rapidly ahead of everything, so no problem there.
Well, that's nothing new. My voice is usually ahead of my brain, too, so...
Very good.
It's a feature, not a bug. What I was going to say is there are so many visual cues as you're creating the map to remind you of things. For instance, here I dropped a decision in, and it reminded me that it's unconnected. So if you're trying to get a closed map and you want to make sure everything's there and everything's in place, it gives you a lot of visual cues. And, of course, to change this, I can simply stretch this. Maybe this is a rework loop, and I want to go back to the first step. I also have the option using a space bar to change the order of the decisions. You have so much flexibility on what you do with this. Another thing that people have found very difficult to do with other applications is to have nested swim lanes. For example, I might want to show that within the sales department I have two different or three different roles. So I can go to the department manager, and I could add, for instance, sales rep, and maybe sales admin, for example. And then of course, have the option of showing more handoffs, understanding better the workflow, and there's just a lot of control. And the great thing about it, it's an easy, once you learn, if you take the class, the quickest way to do these things, because as with any software, there are a number of routes to get what you need on the paper, but we've done a lot of work. We've used this tool for about a year in our own projects, and we've learned the best methods for creating the maps quickly and where they have really good appearance and are easy to work with. And so that's what you'll really learn in this class, is how to take our templates for the basic maps and how to create those maps quite quickly. There are many other features I could go into, but those are just a few of the things that I immediately fell in love with, was just the ease with which I could create the initial map and also being able to change or update the map quite easily without having to group things and move them and worry that I was going to lose something. It really just makes it easy to maintain the map while you're doing the project. I'm going to switch back to our PowerPoint presentation for a moment. And John, let me know if this switch occurs correctly.
Will do. Looking good so far.
Are we back to key capabilities and skills learned?
We are now. We're at Workshop Highlights.
Okay, we just did Workshop Highlights. So again, the maps that we'll really be covering are the process relationship map. That's one where we have a very specific template that arranges the processes in management, core processes, and support processes, and you'll also learn how to nest process maps. And so you could use your process relationship map, which has processes at that highest level, as basically a home page for creating additional maps in your project. So you may be showing, here's how all the processes fit together in the organization. Your project may address one or more of those processes, and you can actually build it right from that map and have it linked in a very intuitive and easy way, so that as you're managing your project files, you can keep things organized in one spot. There are a lot of features for managing your maps as you make changes and keeping everything organized. So in addition to being a mapping tool, I also view this as a knowledge management tool to some extent. We'll be doing the process profile, which we've covered in past webinars. This is the high-level map. I may pull up an example here in just a moment, that you use for scoping, for process definition. It's used as the basis for creating a metrics chain if you're developing a dashboard for a process. And it's a really useful map. We find it's one of the most useful things also to communicate process responsibilities and changes. So this is that kind of high-level map. And then finally, the maps we're all familiar with, the cross-functional maps or the linear maps that we use for detailed process analysis and process design. We'll be covering all of those. We also cover some of the other Rummler-Brache maps. We have a map called a super system map that is kind of a visual SWOT analysis at the organization level that we also provide templates for, and time permitting in the class, we'll cover those. And there we go. Let me just show you an example quickly of a process profile. So you can see, I'll show a couple of these different maps finished so you can see what things we've created with iGraphics. Okay, we should be back at the iGraphics screen.
We are.
Are we there, John?
Yep,
all
we
right,
are.
Great. I won't save that. There's your basic process profile, and again, many
Dave,
things.
One sec. Everyone, sorry about that, but if you'll refresh your screen, there we go. Just hit that return arrow, then come back to that lower sync displays with presenter and hit return, and you'll be all set. We see the process profile, Dave?
Good. John, a little technical advice. If I want to show something else, should I go slower, or is there a...
Yeah, just go just a little slower.
All right. I'm going slower. What I would like to also do show you a fully created is map, cross-functional. Did that show up, John?
Almost. We're still at your open file.
Let me know when it's arrived, and I'll cover some of the...
We've got a cross-functional in just about 2 seconds. I think if everyone would just hit their return to main window arrow, there it goes. All right. It's displayed now, Dave.
This is one of the exercises from the class, and essentially all we do is we give a large version of this map on the wall, as you might have with Post-it notes or with a drawing, and then recreate it. And the last class I taught, the average time to create this map was about 25 minutes after having taken the class up to this point. And again, as you use it, you're going to get even more facile with it. So really the selling point I have for this class is you're going to learn some basic Rummler-Brache notational styles, like how do I model a rework decision versus a decision that splits into two paths. What's the correct way to lay out my map? What are some of the notation standards that I would use for a Rummler-Brache cross-functional map, for a process relationship map? But you're also really going to learn best practices, in our view, for creating the maps and updating the maps, so you save a lot of time. We're really interested in taking what is normally and will perhaps always be an arduous and tedious task, which is creating and updating your process maps and making it as easy as possible. And so that's our real mission in offering this class, and also offering the software along with it. So with that, John, I'm going to switch back to the schedule, and then you can talk about a little more about the class and the schedule and where we go from there.
Very good.
Turn over to you.
All right. Well, thanks for showing a little bit of the details. Sorry we had the technical difficulties. We'll be re-recording this particular webinar so that it will be able to keep up with everything and you'll be able to view it. So again, accept our apologies on that. Coming up on your screen will be kind of a list of the at least the locations and dates for the process mapping workshop. In June, we're not quite there yet. One sec. And Dave, are you presenting the workshop dates? Okay.
I have them here, John. They're on my screen. Do I need to refresh?
Yes, let me refresh just a minute.
I'll try one more time. Hang on.
Okay. Now we're still seeing
have it.
iGraphics. There we go. Starting. Okay. I see them now. All right. Thanks. We've got, coming up in Phoenix in April, we've got our process mapping workshop on April 22nd. In New York area, we'll be conducting it on June 17th, and of course in the Los Angeles area on August 12th, and then back in Dallas on October 21st. The price for the workshop is $600, and that does include the full day training as well as a licensed copy of iGraphics Flowcharter 2007. And it also includes a 1-year maintenance agreement that cover any upgrades or updates that for that particular year, as well as support. So with that, I appreciate all of you attending, and if you have questions, please feel free to call us at my number is 214-239-8502, and we can answer any detailed question that you might have. And again, thanks for participating today. Sorry about the technical difficulties, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week on our webinars. Thank you.